General Aviation Mechanic Privileges and Limitations, question number 14. So airmen other than flight crew members. Airmen other than flight crew members. CFR Part 65 contains information of the certification of mechanics, which are airmen other than flight crew members. You are not flight crew, you're a ground crew. Flight crew members, all right? Part 65 is mechanic certification. Remember that. Mechanic certification is Part 65. Airmen other than flight crew. Well, we're other than flight crew. We are ground crew. Number 15, mechanics. Mechanics, once again, here we go. 14 CFR Part 65, Subpart D contains regulations regarding the certificate of who? Mechanics. You, that's right now. Once again, notice that for the past 3-4 questions, they all have to do with CFR Part 65, right? Why? They want to input that in your brain. It's extremely important. Part 65 talks about you, what you can do, what you can't do, all right? What certifications, how you're gonna do it, and why you're gonna do it, if you can do it. Part 65, talk the mechanics ratings, okay? 16, served as a mechanic under the certificate and rating for at least 6 months. Served as a mechanic under the certificate and rating for at least 6 months. So, a certificated mechanic shall not exercise the privileges of these certificate ratings unless within the preceding 24 months the administrator has found that the certificate holder is able to do the work, or the holder has served as a mechanic under the certificate rating for at least 6 months. Why is this important? Okay, so just think about this real quick. Right now, about 80% of everybody out there right now that's looking at this video, okay, we all have, and I include myself in here, okay, because this is how I got started as well. We all had prior experience as aircraft mechanics. Some of us are military, some of us been doing OJT out on the field, some of us are just in other countries, right? But we work on airplanes. We work on airplanes in other countries, and we're certified in other countries, but now we're looking to get an FAA airframe and power plant rating, right? So we can work on what? November registered aircrafts all around the world, okay? That's what we're here for. We want that certificate so we can sign off and say, boom, I could do that, right? I can do that inspection. I got the training, and I should be able to do that, okay? Go make some real money. Well, guess what? If you go to school, all right? If you go to school and your schooling is 18, 24 months, okay? And then you get your rating. Hey, congratulations, you're an AMP, go to work. You can't sign squat for another 6 months. Why is that important? Because they want you to get your hands and know exactly what it is that you're doing. Now, your employer will allow you to do certain things based on the requirements. If you're brand new in the field, just got out of school, you're gonna be changing a lot of tires, right? Getting your feet wet, doing the small jobs first. You're not gonna go out and troubleshoot an APU or, I don't know, another expensive component, are you? No, because you don't know how to do it just yet. So it's real simple, okay? For the first 6 months, you're just learning, okay? All right, let's go ahead and move on. Move on. So now you know that for the first 6 months you have your certificate, you cannot sign anything off unless you have prior experience, okay? And that's provable, all right? Number 17, suspension or revocation of a certificate held. Suspension or revocation of a certificate held. So under Title 14 Code of Federal Regulations, what is the maximum penalty for falsification, alteration, or fraudulent reproduction of certificates, logbooks, reports, and or records. They're going to take your crap. They're going to take your certificate away. They're going to suspend it and take it away. Suspension or revocation of any certificate held. Even if you're a pilot and you're caught falsifying documents, you're done. No more pilot. All right? Suspension or revocation is the most they can do to you. All right? Number 18, 30 days. 30 days. So how long does a holder or a certificate issued under 14 CFR Part 65 do you have to notify the FAA of any changes in your permanent mailing address? They need to know where they can send you documentation or at all times. Even if you're overseas, they need a physical address so they can mail you something. All right? 30 days. If you move from that address, notify them. Let them know. You have 30 days to do so. What's going to happen afterwards? I don't know. I just don't know. But just let them know, hey, I no longer live in apartment B, now in apartment A. That's pretty much it. Number 19, until surrendered, suspended, or revoked. Until surrendered, suspended, or revoked. How long is your certificate good for? How long is a mechanic certificate with airframe and or power plants rated valid? It is good for life until it is surrendered, suspended, or revoked. All right? Surrendered, which means I don't want it anymore. Suspended, which means you can't have that anymore. All right? And then, oh, that was revoked. And then suspended is, let me see that for a little bit, do some good stuff, and I'll give it to you later. All right. Surrendered, suspended, or revoked. How long is a mechanic certificate with airframe or power plants rated valid for? Until it's surrendered, suspended, or revoked. Number 20, to allow for review of his or her application and supplementary documents. To allow for review of his or her application or supplementary documents. So, why is a mechanic applicant issued a temporary certificate after successful completion after the required test? So when you've done taking your test, remember, that's why they need your address as well. It's extremely important that you have a good mailing address. Why? Because when you're done taking your tests, let's say you take all your writtens, you take your oral, you take your practical, and they say, congratulations, here's your temporary certificate. The guy's gonna sign it, your DME is gonna sign it right there on the spot and say, here you go work on airplanes. You're gonna be like, woohoo, but you can't do nothing with it, right? Just kind of hold on to it, I guess. They're gonna send you your real one after they're done reviewing all your documents. Simple as that, okay? So, 21, 120 days. 120 days. What is the maximum duration of a temporary airman certificate? So, you just passed all your exams and they said, here, congratulations, here's your temporary certificate. Great. If you didn't give them a good address, guess what? Your ticket is gone, it's lost somewhere, it's in the sands of time, right? Well, guess what? That actually runs out. Your temporary certificate runs out. There's no number on there, so you can't really sign said, oh, in accordance with, you can't do that. You can't sign it, right? There's no AMP there. There's no AMP number. So they issue that as a temporary certificate saying, hey, you passed everything. Congratulations, go to work. But wait until your certificate comes in the mail, and it should take no longer than 120 days. So that's pretty much letting you know how long it takes. All right. Number 22. Now it usually takes 30 to 45 days. That's about average, but it could take up to 6 months. Number 22. When employed outside of the United States by a U.S. air carrier. Look at that. We were just talking about that. When employed outside the U.S. by a USA air carrier. When may an otherwise qualified mechanic who does not read, write, speak, and understand the English language be eligible to apply for a mechanic certificate? This is the only This question here, I don't like it. And I'll tell you why. Okay? Because if you're employed by American Airlines in, I'm going to say another country out there, Zimbabwe. I don't know. They have American Airlines over there. All right? I'm just saying something out there. If you have Haiti or Colombia or Brazil, it doesn't matter. So let's say you work for a major carrier, U.S. air carrier, right? Well, guess what? All of your stuff is still going to be in English. So you need to know English. Okay? All the maintenance manuals are in English. All the everything is in English. All right? So when you take your tests, you have to read English. When you do your oral and practical exams, they are going to be in English. Okay? So it doesn't have to be perfect English, but it's gonna be in English. So make sure you know English. That's it. I don't like this. It says that employed outside by the United States by a U.S. air carrier. It doesn't always apply. I don't know why that question is here, but in case you see it, hey, when don't you need to know English? You know, read or speak or write. Well, if you work outside the U.S., let's say you're in France and you work for Delta and you're gonna you work for Delta in France, right? Well, everybody over there speaks French, but you work for Delta, man. You need to learn English. All right, move on. 23. He/she may perform an airframe major repair or major alteration, but cannot approve the work for return to service. He/she may perform an airframe major repair or alteration, but cannot approve the work for return to service. What is that? Which of the following statement is true for a certificated and appropriately rated mechanic regarding repairs and alterations? Well, you can perform a major repair or a major alteration, but you can't approve the work for return to service. Why? Because you need to be an IA to sign that 337. Any major repair or major alteration is part of that 337 that only an IA can sign. Okay? 24. Flying passengers on scheduled operation. Flying passengers on scheduled operation. So which of the following is an instance when a special flight permit may not be issued? When flying passengers on a scheduled operation. So you're working for a charter operation and the plane needs to go from point A to point B, but it's broke, right? And so you ask for a special permit. Say, hey, can I have a ferry flight to go back home and fix my plane? Well, guess what? If you have passengers on board, they're gonna tell you no. So no passengers on board, straight up. Ferry permits, special flight permits cannot be flying passengers on a scheduled operation. All right, that's pretty much it there. And let's see what here, 25. Neither 1 and neither 2 is true. So, certificated mechanics with airframe ratings may perform minor repair to an airspeed indicator providing they have the accessible equipment available. No, they can't. The airspeed indicators you cannot work on unless you are a repair station, unless you're a shop that works on airspeeds. Don't get fooled. Certificated mechanics with power plant ratings may perform major repair to the propeller providing they have necessary equipment. No. A mechanic holding a power plant rating cannot perform major repairs or major alteration to propellers. Once again, so this one here, okay, extremely important. These both are components, all right? Components, these are shops. Only shops can work on these things, okay? Don't get fooled, okay? Don't get fooled. You can do minor, right? But you can't do major. Number 26, the installing person or agency. The installing person or agency who is responsible for determining that the materials used in the aircraft maintenance and repair are of the proper type and conform to the appropriate standards. It is the installing person or agency. It is your responsibility to make sure that that part you're installing is the proper part. Just that simple. Installing person or agency. Okay? Guys, take a quiz and see you soon.